You're about to reach your destination, Libra, and that means that your light is going to be shining really brightly throughout this week. And that means that you are about to take an important first step this week. You will know exactly what I mean. Having said that, at the beginning of this week, you are going to have a rather weird, like one of the weirdest experiences of your life, like literally. And that in itself, it's not only going to open your eyes, it's not only going to give you like some kind of sense of urgency, but at the same time, this really weird experience, it's really going to help you to amend your broken and to heal your broken heart. When I say this, it doesn't mean necessarily that this is to do with relationships, because it's not. Okay, so this is not to do with relationships like lovey, no baby, no. This is to do with something else, something like kind of much bigger, much more important. I'm not saying that relationships are not bigger, that the relationships are not big and that not important. Of course that they are a very powerful part of all of our lives. It depends what stage people are at and the way people look at things, okay? So please do not get me wrong. I'm not saying anything negative or bad about it. But when I say that this weird experience, this is going to be like a super weird experience, like really bizarre and very strange. But the bottom line is, this weird experience is going to open your eyes, and you're also at that moment in time, you're going to have this great sense of urgency. You're going to kind of understand somehow and realize that now it's time to do, things that you wanted to do in such a long time, but there is something very specific which is actually going to be on your mind indeed. So this weird experience, it is just going to be such a game changer for you, because it's going to help you to heal your broken heart, to amend your broken heart. But it's to do with something else that happened to you, okay, in your past. And that in itself, it's almost immediately going to like a really kind of you're just gonna basically feel how much was something kind of affecting you, something that happened to you a while back, a while ago. And why am I talking about here again? This is going to become evident, okay? Because I'm not saying that you had problems with a certain people in your life, or like I'm just saying that this in itself, it's really going to make you aware of how much was this actually affecting you, and you're gonna realize that this for some reason affected your relationships with people, whether you just drifted apart a little bit from the people that you shouldn't have. It doesn't really matter what it is, but the bottom line here is that this is going to be so beneficial when it comes to you reconnecting with yourself, but also when it comes to you reconnecting with people indeed. And that in itself, it's also like kind of going to, there is some kind of temptation that you're going to become aware of also at around the beginning of this week. My gorgeous Libra, you have to be strong. There is some kind of temptation that you're going to become aware of at the beginning of this week. And listen, it is just going to be something that you're going to hear, some kind of information. And that information, it's going to seem too good to be true. And something is just not going to be right about it whatsoever. And this is going to happen at around the time when you're trying to make some kind of a decision, and you are going to be thinking about this very intensely. And at that moment in time when you're trying to make some kind of important decision at the beginning of this week, there is someone that is going to make themselves known in your life. That particular person is going to be a big part of it, because you will feel and you will see like something is off when it comes to that person. Something something is really odd when it comes to that person. Something doesn't feel right. It could well be that someone is trying to offer something to you that absolutely doesn't make sense to you whatsoever, but then with like some kind of sweet talk or something, then that person kind of like has an influence, an impact on your life in that particular way. So you just have to go with that first initial feeling, but something is just going to seem too good to be true, and this is something, my gorgeous Libra, that you should avoid at all costs. For some reason, this is the path of the temptation. So if you go down that road, you're not going to release yourself. And this in itself, if you kind of like, you just have to follow your intuition. You have to follow your intuition. If something is off about someone, then don't have anything to do with that person, for example. And this is going to be your greatest guiding light ever, because if you kind of avoid that temptation, so it's something too good to be true, like a shortcut towards something, for example, but it's too good to be true. You see what I mean? So if you get that right, only a couple of days after, you avoid this, okay? So only a couple of days after that moment in time, you know, you are gonna regain your balance, you are gonna like regain your energy, and for the first time in many years, you are gonna feel so powerful. You're gonna feel like you're on top of the world, and even more so, you are gonna realize exactly what do you need to do in order to kind of release yourself, you know, in such a way where over the last, you know, maybe year, within the last year, you couldn't do what you wanted to do. You were just like kind of going along with things in your life because you needed to. That's what we need to do. Do you know what I mean? But you became very dissatisfied about the certain aspects of your life, but you had to keep going. Now this is going to become absolutely obvious to you what this is, and because that in itself has put you in a little box within the last year where you had lots of ideas, a lot was on your mind. But you know, if it's a lot on our mind, then we just really have to do something about it, because it's not going to be good for anyone if you are having things on your mind but you're not kind of like doing something, and then you very quickly forget about these things, and these things are important and you shouldn't forget about them, okay? Because these are the sacred parts of our life, of our spiritual journey. So this in itself is going to make you aware of for how long your hands, you know, were tied at the back, for how long you couldn't do what you wanted to do, you couldn't move in, you know, towards the direction you wanted to move towards. And this is all going to like kind of be on your mind quite a lot, and it's going to make you aware of a very brave step you're going to need to make. The brave step that you are going to need to make, that you're going to become aware of here, it's also becoming like a brand new portal when it comes to you, because you are going to make one of the wisest choices of your life. And this is a lot to do with you doing the right thing when it comes to you nurturing yourself and nurturing your soul by doing what you feel passionate about, and also making the right decision, which is going to make your whole quality of life so much better. This is the time of release, my gorgeous Libra. This is the time of rejuvenation. This is the time when you are really literally going to make such an important step here, such an important brave move. It's about making an important and brave move, but you will know that this is something that you have to do at this stage in your life, because otherwise you're not going to be able to move on. By the time you get to the mid part of this week, you know, you need to understand that now it's time when your success in your life is about to expand by keeping going forward. Listen to me very carefully, my gorgeous Libra. This is so important. Now it's time at around the midweek. This is the time when success is about to expand in your life, but it's only going to expand by you keeping going forward, because you are about to like kind of find yourself like facing some kind of a brand new project. This is so important, brand new project. You will understand what am I talking about, because that in itself is going to make you aware of like some kind of potential. So first of all, I suppose you're going to become aware of this mind-blowing potential, and then that in itself is going to be the part of your life where you are going to be kind of starting a brand new project. This in itself, it's really kind of going to also bring you an important news when it comes to some kind of like conclusion, an important news which is going to help you out with some kind of conclusion. And that particular conclusion is a lot to do with the future planning as well. But this is going to be positive because you will know and you will understand that you're going to be able to do something so important for your future. In fact, this new project that I'm talking about that you're going to be facing, this is a lot to do with your future, and it's a lot to do with you kind of starting to look forward to your future and starting to become so excited about your future. You know, the whole energy is going to change here, and this in itself is again going to make you aware of like the fact that there is a little burden that you are still going to need to deal with, my gorgeous Libra. There is a one particular burden that you are going to need to deal with. Look at this. I will show you now. When it comes to you dealing with this particular burden, there is a particular burden that you're going to need to deal with, okay? This particular burden that you're going to need to deal with, my gorgeous Libra, look at this. You're going to have an opportunity also to deal with to deal with this ongoing burden. So you're going to have an important opportunity here, look at this, to deal with this burden. And before you have this opportunity to deal with this burden, there is going to be a very, very interesting sign, very unusual sign that you're going to have, but it's going to be good. It's going to be brilliant, it's going to be sweet, and it's going to feel so delicious in so many different ways. And that sign that you are going to have, it's not only going to bring an inspiration into your life, but it's also going to make you aware of the fact that you are going to be able to deal with the very, very kind of ongoing burden in your life. That sign is going to give you so much hope and so much faith. And this is so important, my gorgeous Libra. Indeed. And that particular burden, it's really at the end of the day, it's a lot to do with that particular burden. It's a lot to do with you maybe not being honest with yourself, or you also at the same time not wanting to resolve some kind of a problem which involves like maybe one or two people, or maybe even a group of people, because you were worried like what is going to happen. You were worrying about the outcome. You were worrying that you're going to upset someone, but you need to do this. You need to deal with this. You need to come to the bottom with this. So you just have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with that person. And what this is going to do to you, this sign, it's going to help you to open your eyes, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and most importantly, to see this situation from a completely different perspective, from a completely different angle. This, my gorgeous Libra, is so important, more than you can possibly imagine, because you are at the same time making probably one of the most kind of interesting adjustments of your life that is going to turn out to be huge like within the next couple of months. But now the interesting thing is that you're not gonna be able to notice straight away. So this is why things are indeed going to become very, very interesting. By the time you get to the last part of this week, you know, my God, my gorgeous Libra, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Now it's time to answer the call. Now it's time to answer the call, my gorgeous Libra. The time is now. The time is now. You need to clear the air. But this in itself is to do with yourself. Okay, and also at the same time you know you are going to really feel so adamant, you know, so it's the time is now to clear the air. But this is more, you must be honest with yourself. You must be honest with yourself, because something is going to be on your mind. There are two paths that are going to be ahead of you. You must not go for the lazy path. I'm not saying you're lazy. You just have to go for like a path that's much longer, that it's like an organic path, you know, it's much longer, and it's going to take a while. You must not like kind of go for the path that it's like kind of doesn't feel right, but it's going to bring you there like much quicker, much sooner. Again, a bit of a temptation going on here, that second time this week, my gorgeous Libra. So this is why you just have to be honest with yourself, okay? And at the same time, you are really gonna make, at the end of this week, you are gonna have this idea this absolutely remarkable idea, but you have to really be quick, you have to be sharp, you have to be clever, because it's not about a mind-blowing idea. This is going to be a mind-blowing idea. So especially when it comes to 18th and the 19th of March, you're going to have a mind-blowing idea, but this is not going to work at all if you don't do it straight away. Now with this one, you need to jump in like a big mama, like the biggest mama in the world. You need to jump in like immediately. So when you have this incredible idea at around the end of the week, you need to take this on immediately. You need to be sharp, you need to be quick, and you need to be clever, because later on you're not going to be able to do this. Okay, so this is when things are going to become very interesting to you. So what you need to understand is, like, you are making a super wise choice, but at the same time you are going to have a clear indication somehow that, you know, you need to be patient. You know, this is to do with the timing, and at the same time you're also going to know that, you know, a very kind of like at the same time you're going to be kind of reminded like very negative and dark things that you have been through over the last year that slowed you down, and you don't like to be slowed down. And this is going to be so important here when it comes to youth. You know what, like, that's it, I had enough, I'm absolutely going for it. You're almost as if you're going to be like, oh no, I'm going to do this later, and then suddenly you're going to be reminded of what you were going through for the last year, and you were like, no baby, no. I'm not saying it was horrible, I'm not saying it was nasty, I'm just saying that you had so many different points where you had so much on your mind, so many ideas, so many realizations that showed you that you're clearly unhappy with certain aspects of your life, but you didn't do anything about it. So this is why this is like kind of going to remind you, and it's going to, like, if I can say, like, refresh your memory at the same time. And also, my gorgeous Libra, at around the end of the week, you know what, you're actually going to work on something so important to you. Like, I can see that you're going to be committed to something. You're going to be really enjoying working on something. It doesn't matter what this is. Like, for example, if you're working, maybe it's to do with your work. If you're retired, then you're still going to be working on something really important to you. Like, maybe you're painting, for example. You know, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be working on something really important, something that you are kind of committed to. And then you're going to realize at that moment in time how much you're actually committed to this. You're going to realize that there is more to it, you know, and that in itself is going to make you aware of the actual variety of options, what you're going to feel, what you're going to be working on, something that you're already committed to, something that you already like. But at the same time, at that time, something is going to come to you, like these few different options, like, oh my god, like, this was around me all this time, but I didn't see that I can do this, I can do that, I can make this out of this, I can make that, you know, I can change so much, I can change so much in my life by taking this on the next level. So you just need to see, what do you need to take on the next level here. This is a lot to do with your passion, but it's a lot to do with you, how you want your future to be. This is something that is going to bring an ultimate, like, kind of happiness into your life, but it's also going to provide you with the step in the right direction when it comes to your development and when it comes to this stage of your life. Okay, my gorgeous Libra, thank you ever so much for watching my videos. I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace and light to every single one of you. Thank you ever so much for watching my videos. Sasha Bonasin, psychic medium. Love you. Bye.